Most men live their entire lives chasing shadows of love. They think they know what love is, but in reality, they're lost in illusions. They settle for shallow gestures, confusing mixed signals with true devotion, and mistaking temporary affection for something eternal. If you're watching this, you already know, deep inside, that something feels off in the way relationships are built today. That what people call love often looks more like dependency, like performance, like an act put on for validation. But let me tell you, this real love isn't found in Instagram captions, it isn't found in quick fixes, and it certainly isn't found in toxic cycles of drama. Real love is revealed in actions, in presence, in the kind of loyalty and commitment that doesn't crack when life gets hard. Today, I want to break down for you step by step the 7 things women do when they genuinely, deeply, authentically love you. And before we even get to the list, we need to clear the fog. Because unless you understand the difference between fake love and the real thing, you'll always be chasing the wrong signals. The truth is this: we live in a world drowning in fake love. People throw around words like soulmate and forever, yet their actions don't even last a season. Many relationships today are nothing more than 2 people using each other for comfort, for validation, or for ego. And when the novelty fades, they're gone. That's not love, that's convenience. I want you to picture something. Imagine a man who meets a woman that seems perfect. She texts him constantly. She showers him with attention. She tells him he's different. For the first few weeks, it feels like magic. But then slowly, things change. The texts get fewer. The excitement fades. Arguments creep in. Suddenly, he realizes she was never really there for him. She was there for the thrill, for the distraction, for the temporary rush. That is the trap so many men fall into. They mistake intensity for depth. They confuse temporary attraction for loyalty. But Stoicism, yes, even ancient philosophy, teaches us something very different. The Stoics believe that real love, just like real virtue, can withstand time, trials, and adversity. Seneca once said, "Love in its essence is spiritual fire." Notice fire, not smoke, not illusion. Fire burns steadily, even when the winds of life test it. So, what does this mean for you? It means that before you can recognize the 7 signs of true love in a woman, you must first recalibrate your own understanding of love. You must strip away the fairy tales, the Hollywood fantasies, the Instagram versions of romance, and look at love for what it really is: loyalty, action, sacrifice, and alignment of purpose. Real love isn't loud. It isn't about constant drama or passion that burns out quickly. Real love is calm. It's steady. It doesn't flinch when life gets tough. And let me make this very clear: most men will never experience this type of love. Not because it doesn't exist, but because they don't know how to recognize it. They settle for less. They accept surface-level affection. They confuse obsession with devotion. But you're different. You're here because you want to know the truth. You're here because you're tired of wasting your life on meaningless connections that drain you. You want something unshakable. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you. Across this video, we'll break down the 7 undeniable signs that a woman genuinely loves you. No fluff, no fairy tales, just straight facts backed by Stoic wisdom and modern truth. But before we jump into sign number 1, let's reflect on this. Fake love is easy. It requires no sacrifice, no loyalty, no real commitment. Real love is rare. It is tested. It reveals itself not in words, but in action. Ask yourself, how many times have you confused words for reality? How many times have you stayed in a relationship because of promises, even when her actions told a different story? That ends now. Because in the next part, I will reveal the first undeniable sign that separates real love from shallow affection, the sign of true acceptance. When a woman truly accepts you for who you are, not who she wants you to be, That is the first pillar of genuine love. But that's coming in part 2. For now, let this sink in. Love without actions is nothing. Love without loyalty is empty. And love without peace is just chaos dressed up as romance. Stay with me, because the deeper we go, the clearer the truth will become. Now that we've cleared the illusions about love, let's step into the first undeniable sign that a woman genuinely loves you. This one is foundational. Without it, everything else crumbles. She accepts you fully. Not partially, not conditionally, not "I love you," but only if you change this, fix that, or become who I imagine you should be. No real love, genuine love, begins with acceptance. Let me tell you a story. There was a man. Let's call him David. David was ambitious, disciplined, but also stubborn. He had flaws, like anyone. He was messy at times, impatient, and often so focused on his goals that he forgot the little things. He met a woman who seemed to admire him. At first, everything was smooth, but slowly, she began to chip away at who he was. "Why can't you be more relaxed? You're too serious. You should talk like this, dress like that." Over time, David realized he wasn't loved for who he was. He was loved for who she wanted him to be. He was becoming a project, not a partner. And here's the harsh truth. That's not love. That's control, dressed up as affection. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." Think about that. Real love doesn't demand constant remodeling. Real love doesn't make you feel like you're on trial every day. Real love sees your strengths, your weaknesses, your ambitions, your scars, and says, "I still choose you." Ask yourself right now, does the woman in your life truly accept you? Or are you constantly under pressure to fit into her ideal image? Does she embrace your imperfections? Or does she secretly resent them? Because here's the reality. If she can't accept you now, she never will. And if you change yourself just to keep her happy, you'll lose yourself in the process. That's not a relationship that's self-erasure. Acceptance doesn't mean she ignores your flaws. Acceptance means she understands that love isn't about perfection, it's about reality. A woman who truly loves you will stand beside you through your flaws, not in spite of them. She won't try to mold you into something else because she respects the man you already are. She knows you're human. She knows you'll make mistakes. And yet her loyalty doesn't waver. That's rare. That's priceless. Let's flip it around. Imagine another man. We'll call him Eric. Eric was far from perfect, but his partner accepted him. She laughed at his quirks, encouraged his strengths, and when he failed, she didn't shame him, she supported him. She didn't see him as a project. She saw him as a person. And because of that, Eric grew stronger, more confident, more at peace. He didn't have to waste energy pretending or hiding. He could focus on becoming his best self because he had a woman beside him who saw his worth even when he didn't. That, my friend, is real love. So here's the hard truth. If you're with a woman who constantly criticizes you, constantly compares you, constantly makes you feel like you're not enough, she doesn't love you. She loves the idea of you. And the idea will always be more important to her than the reality. But a woman who truly loves you, she sees the unfiltered version. She sees the flaws, the weaknesses, the scars, and she still chooses you. That's not just love. That's respect. That's loyalty. That's foundation. And this is where Stoicism ties in. Stoicism teaches us not to chase illusions, not to crave approval, but to live aligned with truth. If you're with someone who doesn't accept you, you're living in a lie. And the Stoic path demands truth, truth in yourself and truth in your relationships. So ask yourself again, does she accept you? Or is she simply tolerating you until she can sculpt you into someone else? If you've found a woman who accepts you fully, do not take that for granted. That is a rare gem in today's world. But if you're in a relationship where you're constantly fighting just to be yourself, it's time to reconsider. Life is too short to waste on conditional love. Because real love, the kind that lasts, the kind that's unbreakable, always begins with acceptance. And acceptance is just the beginning. Because love is not only about how she sees you, it's also about what she's willing to do for you. And that brings us to the second undeniable sign of genuine love: sacrifice. When a woman truly loves you, she knows the meaning of sacrifice, but not the kind of sacrifice you're probably thinking about. This is different. We'll dive deep into that in part 3. Now that we've talked about acceptance, the foundation of real love, let's move into the second undeniable sign of genuine love. And this one separates the shallow from the real. She knows the meaning of sacrifice. Let's be real. Many people enter relationships thinking only about what they can get. They think love is about receiving attention, validation, comfort, pleasure. But true love is about balance. It's about give and take. And when a woman truly loves you, she doesn't just take, she gives, she sacrifices. She shows you through action that you matter enough for her to adjust, to compromise, to put your well-being alongside her own. Let's imagine two couples. In the first couple, the man is constantly bending over backward. He cancels plans, changes his habits, gives up his ambitions, all to keep her happy. But the woman? She never sacrifices. She never compromises. She takes and takes and takes. What is that? That's not love. That's manipulation dressed up as romance. Now the second couple is different. Both give, both adjust. Both make sacrifices not out of obligation, not out of guilt, but out of genuine care for one another. That's balance. That's partnership. That's love. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Love is the same way. Without sacrifice, love is never proven. It stays at the surface. Words mean nothing if actions don't follow. When a woman truly loves you, she will sometimes put your needs before her own, not because she's weak, not because she's submissive, but because she values you. Because she sees the bigger picture of the relationship. And here's the key. Real sacrifice is balanced. It's not her giving up everything for you, nor you giving up everything for her. It's mutual. It's fair. It's rooted in respect. Think about this in real life. If you're working late to build a future, she understands and supports you, instead of complaining that you're not giving her constant attention. If you're struggling financially and can't provide luxuries, she adjusts her lifestyle rather than pressuring you to go broke just to impress her. If you're facing a tough season in life, she doesn't bail. She sacrifices her comfort to stand by your side. Those are not small things. They are proof. They are evidence. Compare that to the shallow kind of love we see so often today. A woman who says she loves you but only shows up when it's convenient, only cares when she's benefiting, only makes sacrifices if there's something in it for her. That is not love. That's opportunism. That's ego. That's selfishness. And here's the harsh truth. Too many men mistake manipulation for love because they've never seen true sacrifice. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, taught that we must always distinguish between what is in our control and what is not. Sacrifice in love is a choice. It's within her control. If she chooses, consistently, to put the relationship above her own immediate comfort, that tells you more about her love than any words ever could. Because sacrifice isn't about grand gestures. It's not about dramatic scenes. It's about the little things she does every day. The patience when you're stressed. The understanding when you're absent. The support when you're weak. That is love in action. There's a story of a soldier who returned home from war, broken, scarred, and unsure of himself. Many people around him pulled away friends, even family. But his wife? She sacrificed her comfort, her ease, her own dreams for a while to help rebuild him. She stood by him, not because it was easy, but because it was love. That sacrifice built trust so deep, their bond became unshakable. That is the difference between fake love and real love. Fake love runs when things get hard. Real love sacrifices when things get hard. So remember this. A woman who genuinely loves you understands that sacrifice is not loss. It's investment. It's building something bigger than herself. It's building you. It's building both of you together. If she sacrifices, she loves. If she only takes, she doesn't. And this is just the second sign. But notice how it already cuts through the illusions. Love isn't about pretty words or empty gestures. It's about the grit, the reality, the proof. Now, there's another layer to this that you need to understand. Because sacrifice doesn't mean control. A woman who truly loves you not only sacrifices, she also respects your freedom. And that, my friend, is the third undeniable sign of genuine love. We'll explore that in part 4. We've talked about acceptance. We've talked about sacrifice. Now let's move to the third undeniable sign of genuine love. She respects your freedom. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of love. Many people think that being in a relationship means possession, that love gives them the right to control, to dictate, to monitor. But real love is not about chains. It's about trust. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt suffocated? Where your every move was questioned? Your every moment away from her was treated like betrayal? Where your phone buzzed non-stop with, "Where are you? Who are you with? Why didn't you answer right away?" That isn't love. That's insecurity masquerading as devotion. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Now, think about how this applies to love. A woman who truly loves you doesn't try to own you. She doesn't try to control what you do every second of the day. Why? Because she trusts. Because she understands that love without freedom is not love, it's prison. Let me paint a picture. There's a man named Jason. Jason is ambitious, hardworking, and values his independence. He dated a woman who seemed sweet at first, but soon, her behavior revealed something deeper. Every hour she wanted updates. If he didn't text back right away, she accused him of ignoring her. If he wanted to spend time with his friends, she guilt-tripped him. If he focused on his goals, she said he didn't care about her. What happened? Jason lost himself. He stopped hanging out with his friends. He gave up time for his passions. He felt trapped in his own relationship, and eventually, he realized this wasn't love. This was control. Now, imagine another scenario. Jason meets a different woman. She values his time, his goals, his freedom. She doesn't panic if he doesn't reply instantly. She doesn't try to dominate his schedule. Instead, she encourages him to spend time with his friends, to pursue his purpose, to grow individually. And when he comes back to her, it's not out of obligation. It's out of choice, out of love, out of loyalty. That is real freedom. So ask yourself, does the woman in your life trust you enough to give you freedom? Or does she hold you on a leash, mistaking control for connection? Because let me tell you, if she can't respect your freedom, she doesn't respect you. Here's why this matters so much. Freedom is not about distance. It's about trust. It's about knowing that even when you're apart, the bond is unshakable. Think about it. Love is strongest when it doesn't rely on constant surveillance. Love is strongest when both people can breathe, grow, and return to each other stronger. A woman who truly loves you understands this. She knows that controlling you doesn't keep you close, it drives you away. Respecting your freedom keeps the bond alive, healthy, and real. Even Marcus Aurelius, in his writings, often reflected on the importance of balance between duty and freedom. Imagine an emperor of Rome, burdened with responsibility, yet still writing about the value of inner liberty. If even the Stoics understood that true bonds cannot exist without freedom, why do so many modern relationships collapse under control and insecurity? So here's the truth. If she respects your freedom, she loves you. If she tries to control you, she fears losing you, and that's not love, that's fear. And love built on fear will never last. A woman who genuinely loves you wants to see you grow, even if that growth happens outside of her immediate presence. She doesn't tie you down, she empowers you. That is love. That is respect. That is freedom. And this freedom leads directly to the next sign of genuine love, because a woman who truly loves you doesn't just respect your independence. She aligns herself with your greater mission in life. In Part 5, we'll dive into the fourth sign. She stands by your purpose. Because at the end of the day, love isn't just about being together. It's about moving in the same direction. Life, for all its beauty, does not hand us strength on a silver platter. Strength is forged. It is created in the fire of difficulty, in the moments when comfort is stripped away and all that remains is our ability to endure, to adapt, and to rise again. The Stoics understood this truth deeply. They did not wish for easy lives, nor did they believe that the absence of struggle was a blessing. Instead, they welcomed hardship as a teacher, a sculptor of character. Seneca once remarked, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." And he was right. Just as our muscles grow not when they are at rest, but when they are torn and rebuilt through strain, so too does the soul grow through trials. Every obstacle, every setback, every moment when life seems unbearably heavy, it is there that your character is being sharpened, your mind being made resilient, and your spirit becoming unbreakable. Think of your life right now. How much of your day is built around comfort? We have climate-controlled homes, instant food, unlimited entertainment, and endless distractions. Comfort has become our cage, and while it shields us from pain, it also shields us from growth. The Stoics would remind us, what you avoid today will own you tomorrow. If you avoid discomfort, discomfort becomes your master. But if you face it willingly, if you choose to embrace the difficult path, you reclaim your freedom. When Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal that the impediment to action advances action, what stands in the way becomes the way, he was not merely being poetic. He was pointing to a law of life itself. The obstacle before you is not your enemy, it is your path. So, how can we apply this in daily life? The answer is simple. We must deliberately do difficult things. Wake up earlier than your comfort wants. Expose yourself to the cold when your body craves warmth. Resist the easy pleasure that drains your willpower. Speak the truth when silence would protect your ego. Confront the task you've been avoiding instead of hiding behind excuses. Each act of hardship, chosen deliberately, is like training the soul for life's inevitable storms. Because hardship will come whether you seek it or not. Illness, loss, betrayal, failure, they are all waiting in life's corridors. By training through voluntary struggle, you prepare yourself for involuntary suffering. Epictetus advised his students to start small. If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because embarrassment is one of the first hardships we must conquer. When you stop fearing what people think, you become free. Every struggle contains a gift, but only if we choose to see it. Imagine a mountain climber. If the mountain were smooth, he could never ascend. It is precisely the jagged rocks, the roughness, the obstacles that give him something to grip, something to pull himself upward. Your life is no different. The roughness is your opportunity. The hardship is your grip. Without it, you would never ascend. Think about a time in your past when life felt unbearable. Perhaps it was heartbreak, failure, rejection, or the loss of something you cherished. At the time, You may have wished it never happened. Yet, here you are, stronger, wiser, and perhaps even more compassionate because of it. Looking back, you might even realize that very hardship shaped you into the person you are today. The Stoics remind us, do not curse your trials. Instead, thank them. For without struggle, there is no growth. Without difficulty, there is no resilience. Without hardship, there is no greatness. In our modern world, hardship often feels distant, cushioned by convenience. But the Stoic way is to bring difficulty back into our daily lives, not because we love suffering, but because we love the strength that suffering creates. Try this. Skip a meal and feel the hunger that so many fear. Walk instead of drive and learn to embrace fatigue. Take a cold shower and let discomfort sharpen your will. Say no to instant gratification and feel the power of self-mastery. Face rejection head-on and discover that your worth is not defined by another's approval. Each of these small hardships trains the soul, and when real storms come, when fate throws something truly heavy at you, you will stand firm because you have built a foundation of inner strength. Life is not about avoiding difficulty, it is about preparing for it. Think of the ancient Stoics as warriors of the mind. They did not run from adversity. They walked toward it with calm courage. Marcus Aurelius, as emperor, faced plagues, wars, betrayals, and endless responsibility. Yet he reminded himself daily, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That is the warrior's mindset, to know that pain is real, but suffering is a choice, to know that hardship is unavoidable, but weakness is not. So, let me ask you, what hardship are you avoiding right now? What struggle are you postponing, hoping it will disappear? That very thing, the avoided task, the feared confrontation, the delayed discipline that is your training ground, that is your path. If you wish to live as the Stoics lived, if you wish to carry their strength into your own life, then do not run from difficulty. Walk into it with open eyes. Choose to do the hard thing, not because it is easy, not because it feels good, but because it transforms you. Remember, comfort makes you fragile, hardship makes you strong. The question is, who do you want to become? My friend, we have now walked a long road together in this journey. We began with silence, with small actions, with building inner discipline. We learned about resilience, about choosing the right companions, about letting go of fear, about the strength of saying no, and about the rhythm that keeps us steady. And now, in this final part of our journey, I want you to see how it all ties together, not as isolated lessons, but as a philosophy of living that can shape the very foundation of your life. Stoicism was never just a set of tricks to make you calmer. It was and always will be a path to true freedom. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." What does this mean? It means that every battle you face, every storm that shakes you, every doubt that haunts you, all of it begins and ends within your own mind. You may not be able to control the world. You may not be able to stop loss, betrayal, rejection, or even death. But you can control how you meet them, and that is the ultimate form of strength. We often think freedom means doing whatever we want, whenever we want. But Stoicism teaches a harder truth. True freedom is wanting only what is in harmony with nature and reason. When you stop demanding the world to bend to your will, when you stop insisting that people must treat you a certain way, when you stop resisting change and impermanence, you will find yourself free in the deepest sense. Seneca said, "He is most powerful who has himself in his own power." You don't need chains to be a prisoner. Your own desires and fears can imprison you. But when you rule yourself, no one can enslave you. Let me ask you, what will you leave behind? Not money, not possessions, not fame. Those things vanish. Even empires collapse. But what endures is virtue. the courage you lived with, the justice you showed to others, the wisdom you cultivated, the temperance that kept you balanced. Marcus Aurelius never cared about glory. He knew his name would fade, but he wrote night after night in his tent, words that still guide us nearly 2,000 years later. Why? Because virtue has no expiration date. When you live with virtue, you leave behind a living example that inspires those who come after you. We often wander into the past, chained by regret, or we run ahead into the future, consumed by fear. But the Stoics remind us, the present moment is all you ever own. This breath, this step, this choice. That is life. Epictetus said, "Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not." You don't need to wait for tomorrow to live well. You can live well right now, in this very second, by choosing wisdom over folly, calmness over rage, gratitude over greed. Now, we cannot end this journey without addressing the ultimate lesson, death. The Stoics thought about death not to depress themselves, but to wake themselves up. They called it memento mori. Remember that you must die. Why? Because when you remember death, you remember to live. You stop wasting time on petty arguments. You stop postponing your dreams. You stop fearing what doesn't matter. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. What if today were your last? Would you spend it scrolling endlessly, complaining, envying, regretting? Or would you spend it in gratitude, in action, in love? That choice is in your hands. So here we are. We began with the story of a man named Eric who felt stuck, overwhelmed, and powerless. Through Stoicism, he discovered small steps, inner control, resilience, wisdom, and courage. He became someone new, not by changing the world, but by changing himself. And now, I want you to ask yourself, are you ready to take this path? Are you ready to stop being ruled by chaos and instead walk with calm strength? Are you ready to stop running from life and instead face it with courage? If the answer is yes, then you are already walking the Stoic path. Stoicism is not a dead philosophy. It is alive every time you pause before reacting, every time you choose self-control over impulse, every time you act with courage despite fear, every time you forgive instead of hate. That is Stoicism. That is strength. That is freedom. So carry this wisdom with you. Read Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, but most of all, live their lessons. And when the storms of life rise against you, remember this. The Stoic does not pray for an easier world. The Stoic prays for the strength to meet the world as it is. This has been our journey into Stoic wisdom, my friend. If this spoke to you, if you felt a spark of strength or clarity, then carry it forward not just for yourself, but for everyone you meet. Because the greatest way to honor Stoicism is not to talk about it, but to live it. Thank you for walking with me on this path. Until next time, be wise, be strong, be free.